Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's start. We are now on time. I was playing some videos for you, some amazing Unity games. Okay. So, hola, novamente, again. Um, some people were asking me. I'm from Brazil, so I can speak Portuguese. So that's why yo puedo entender un poco español, portuñol e português. So posso entender, hablar é um pouco mais difícil, mas posso falar um pouquito também. But I will do in English, okay? It will be easier and safer for you. And okay, so my name is Alexandre. You can call me Alex. In Unity, everybody call me Alex, so it's fine. This is my email and Twitter. And please contact me for anything you may need here. I'm a tech evangelist for Latin America together with Arturo. And I am taking care of Chile, hopefully. So next year, we're going to meet much more, I believe. So, and also I'm in Argentina and Brazil. I have big plans for you guys, and hopefully we can all talk about games and development next year, about what you guys doing. Okay. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about NavMesh, but also I would like to tell you about how I did the project that I'm going to show right now. So a little bit of coding, a little bit of project management, a little bit of game manager, and then the NavMesh. Okay, so hopefully this will help some people that were asking me, okay, how can I start the project? How can I make it work together? The project you're about to see, I did in 3 hours. Okay, it's a simple project. There are a few things really nice. Of course, I have some years of experience with Unity, but I'm pretty sure you can all learn that. It's very simple. So as I told you, it's a NavMesh. For those of you who does not know which is a NavMesh, NavMesh is now a Unity component based that you can do some basic AI, like pathfinding. You can make unities or characters walking around, running, attacking each other. So instead of doing that for normal units, in this project, I wanted to do for droids, which actually fly. So I'm faking some movements for these droids, so we're going to see that. And since this new NavMesh is really powerful and runs really good, the droids you're going to see, they are all baking in real time each second in their own region. Okay, so I'm not baking the entire scene. I'm just, each of these droids has its own baking system. Okay. So this project, all the assets I'm using are free assets from the asset store. So you can download these assets and do it for yourselves. I'm talking in a few presentations that if you guys, some of you want the scripts, I can share with you. I cannot share the project yet because of some licenses. Licenses, yes, but the scripts that I did on my own, I can share with you. So if you want, please find me after the talk, okay? I will switch to the Unity editor because it's much better for everyone to see. So I'm going just to hit play a little bit, and explain the game for you. So pretty simple. We have a ship. It turns around, can go up and down, can fly over. There's no damage if it hits the terrain. Never mind that turret right now. I'm just running away. So we have a few turrets that shoot us. All you can see here, the models, the textures, the particles, were all downloaded for free in Asset Store. Okay, and I'm using Unity Terrain right now. So I'll get near. You're going to see that some effects if I get near the ground. I can shoot. Oh, where's the aim? How can I know where I'm shooting? You can't. That's the hard part of this game. Very simple, but to make it not that simple, you need to plan yourself. So these droids you can see here, how we get there, they are randomly walking in the terrain, so they are like flying, but actually they are following their own paths. Okay, so this is it. One of my units here. Oh, razor, I don't know what's that. So he's following its own path. So every time he's moving, like each second, it's recalculating its path. Okay, and it's faster, it's fast, it's easy. So I wanted to demonstrate how you can do that in real time with this demo, which it's pretty possible with this NavMesh version, which you can download already on GitHub from Unity. So back to the game, we can shoot things. I will try to hit this guy. Okay, it's a little bit hard for me. Okay. Almost. Oh, okay. And so you can kill units, you can kill some, you can destroy some buildings. Oh, this droid, which is very fast, was created with timeline from Unity. Okay, but I'm not demonstrating here. And back again, so this turret will keep shooting at me. When you see over there, when my health reaches 0, I just die. And the scene just reload again. So very simple, but it has a lot of things going on. There was someone who was asking me about singleton. He's here? You asked about singleton. Okay, I'm going to show a few things about the code, the project itself, and also the NavMesh. Okay, I'm trying to open my, okay, it's here. Let me minimize this. Okay, so this is the way I'm organizing scene. So we don't have folders in our hierarchy window panel. So I'm just using some empty game objects like these are my goals, these are my props, and a few objects that you can know that these objects can interact with the player. And here we have a game manager. So in my game manager, you have these score points, your global points. So let's say if you are playing on your computer first time, you're going to destroy some droids, and this score will save in your machine using the player prefs. Okay, and then you have the score per kill. So I wanted to do that. You can see from a game designer point of view that you can change that in editor. So this is one of the coolest features in Unity. You can expose all these variables and use that in your project for someone in your team who is not a programmer can change it. And some other things here for the user interface. If the game is running or not, okay. And my player ship. So my player ship has life points. I need to know if it's flying or not, the speed force, rotate force. I can change that if I want to make experience with my game. So again, I can expose all these variables in Unity. And then I have some damage power. And these are my enemies. So what I'm using for my enemies, what I can do with NavMesh here. Well, NavMesh, since it can follow a path, what I'm doing in my project is these droids. Let me maximize this. So can you see there's a green sphere right below my ship, my droid? This is actually the Unity that's using the NavMesh, that's using the NavMesh agent. So I'm doing, okay, my ship will just be a little bit up, and it will follow this object. So that's why I'm faking the flying motion. There are several ways to do that. Okay, this is not the only way. I'm just using what I thought was really simple to understand. And so you can have something flying, and also you can have a NavMesh agent following the path. So in my NavMesh agent, I have the speed, so I can know how fast it can go. I have all the details about avoidance, and also this works. So let's say I have different droid size, or I have big ships. We can create each one a unique values for interact with the player and the scene. So I'm going to hit play again, because now I want to show you each part of it. Okay, so droid NavMesh. Can you see it's changing? Every second or so, I don't remember which is the delay here, but every second it's changing its path. So each unit has its own baking path, so it can move in whatever terrain I want. So let's say you have a procedural terrain generation, or I don't know, a puzzle, a level that it's created all real time. You can use that if you don't want to bake it before. You can use that for unities that needs to upgrade its path. It needs to upgrade the terrain. So it is pretty powerful. At the end, I will show another project which is a little bit different, just to show you another example, okay? So these droids are following its own path here. So this is actually the object which is using my NavMesh agent. Above we just have the graphics for it and the collision data. So if I shoot, it's going actually to hit that. Okay, and how do I start the project? Before I move on, who of you have less than a year of experience with Unity? Please, can you raise your hands? Oh, nice. More than a year? All the rest, I suppose. Okay, so I want to show you either a little bit of code and how I organized that, or just the impacts on graphics and stuff. So who are you programmers? Programmers, artists, and game designers. Okay, artists, don't be mad at me. I'm going to show a little bit of code, but just quickly, how I organize. I'm not going deeply into the code. Also, game designers, don't be afraid. And just how the game is connecting together, okay, if that makes sense for you. And then it will not take long. After that, I'll open for questions, and we can talk about the project, about different ways of doing that, or even dubs about NavMesh, whatever you want. Okay, so here, as I said, I have Game Manager here. I'll just open the script while it's running. What is the logic of the game? Why I'm using NavMesh and the project? So here we have a player, which in my case it's the ship. Then we have enemies, which are the droids and the turrets, and some static building that are just to die in my scene, just for that I can have something to kill that is not attacking me, okay? So every game we have all those objects, we have something that it conflicts with the player, a story or something. So here I wanted to create a simple game loop to like have a start point, I have something to do, and I have an end to it, okay? So my ship is the player. I can move around it. My enemies are the turrets, and I have the terrain to explore. Later, I can tell you, this sound is really horrible. I'm just going to mute a little bit. Because since it's all free, I get a free sound for the ship. I edited that myself. I tried to create an engine loop. I'm terrible at sound effects, so this is why the ship is horrible. So, and okay, so here what's happening. Also, I will explain later how I did that fog effect. I'm not using any skybox material here. It's all color with some fog, okay, to give this look that the terrain is a little bit bigger than it looks, because it's not that big. It's actually pretty small. Okay, so here I'm using Unity terrain so far. And I'm just using the fog and colors to fake my sky. Okay, so back to the game loop. I'm going to head back, otherwise I would die. Okay, so when I start the game, what I'm telling is, okay, game manager, let's just create our instance here and prepare my scene. So as I said, I'm not going deep into this, just to show you a little bit about what I'm doing. And I have a few variables exposed, so I can explain later too if you programmers want to talk with me who are beginners. I will be here after the talk and we can talk a little bit more, okay? What time ends? 4:20, I believe. Okay, so we have some time. So what I'm doing here, I'm controlling my game state. Like when I start the project, when I start the game, I'm resetting everything, like my score. I have my UI to, okay, my game over UI, it will be false because I don't want to show in the end game. And I have some functions here like to add some score to it. So here, you can see that I have some functions or methods that are like, okay, I'm calling this. Imagine I'm creating a vehicle, a car. What we need to make the car run? We need wheels. We need an engine, at least. We need, I don't know, some seats. What else? We need to have all the basic stuff for a car. So that's what I'm trying to do on script, to make beginners to understand better. So I have my score add, I have my reset game, so every time I need, I just reset the game anytime I want. I can save my score globally, I receive some damage, and okay, player died. So these functions, I can call it anytime from whatever I want, depending if it's public or not, and that's the point I'm having a singleton here. Okay. For the ones who want to know a little bit more singleton, I can discuss outside with you. Okay. So again, what I'm doing is, when I start the project, I'm resetting everything that I need. Then I have everything prepared to receive data. So, and that's where is my game ship controller starts. So this is my ship controller. I'm controlling all the particles, the damage, everything here. So every time I press a button, if I go to update, I have, okay, this is we control my ship dust, my particles, and my ship mechanics. So here I'm saying, okay, every time I get my button shooting, it will trigger all those variables and all these actions here. And one thing I like to mention is this is a special shortcut from Unity. So for you guys to check on that, so let's say you want to create some. It's not me. Okay. I think it's another building. Let's forget about that. And so I have here my input manager. I just created some special controllers here. Shooting, turn, up, down. So it's just for me to use it as a shortcut. So that's what's happening when I'm shooting. Okay, so, and then I'm check, okay, I'm not shooting. If I'm not, now I'm shooting. I'm just going to play the shoot effects one time and make my particles on. So after that, okay, I'm casting an array, which is where I'm going to hit, where I'm going to shoot. I have some positions, I have some debug here just to make sure on the scene if I'm shooting in the right position. And then I have my array cache here, which is, okay, get this position. Do I have dust? If not, I'm just going to create some dust. So for performance, imagine if every time I shoot, can you see here? When I shoot, there are, let me turn down the audio off a little bit. So when I'm shooting, can you see the dust over there? So right now, to try to save some performance, I'm like creating the dust, I'm instantiating new dust every few seconds. Because what happens if I'm like, if I'm copy inside my player object? As soon as I stop shooting, my particle will disappear, will turn it off. So it will not look like, can you see the dust fading away? It will not look like that. It will just suddenly disappear. So that's why I'm using that. The problem is it's not good for recreate objects. So the first tip here is object pooling. Okay, get to know a little bit about that to use for particles, shootings, and when you need to create objects in real time. Here I'm not using any pooling system because I wanted to make it easier. Okay, another thing I did for this project is every object that I want to destroy, like my goals, I have a script called prop scene. This script tells any object, okay, this object can be destroyed. This object can receive damage, as you can see here, life points, and will die. And when it die, it will create an explosion effects. And I have my UI life. So all these towers here, they have all the scripts so I can hit, I can shoot, I can destroy. So let's say that I want a new object and I want to make it destroyable. So I pretty much need to use this script with some colliders and it will all work. Okay, and for my main camera, I have some post-process layer here. We did not have a talk about post-processing, but it's really powerful. During lunch, Carl was showing you about Neon, so post-processing was heavily used. I'm not going deep into that, but here we have some effects like vignette, bloom, depth of field. And again, back to my player ship. My player ship is moving with a rigid body, which means, okay, unit, this object needs physics. So that's why I'm using the rigid body. So since it uses physics, I can move it with physics, I can have all the physics interaction for it, but let's say that if you see here, I just make a rotation, okay, you need to freeze. So let's say if I don't have that. Let's say if I either forgot or I don't want to use that. What happens is when I hit the ship in any place with my physics, it will go and start to get crazy. But for this game, I don't want that. Can you see the camera all crazy? And it's rotating because, of course, it's respecting the physics. Also, I'm not going to die. You see here? Look how I'm going to do. I'm not going to die. Okay, so here on my rigid body, you can see that I don't have use gravity enabled because I don't want to use that. I want my ship to not have gravity to give that spaceship effects. And it's not kinematic also because I want it interacting with physics. So, but since I did not froze that, this is how it gets crazy here. So, I don't want you all feeling bad and puking here, so I'm just going to turn this back again. So that's why I'm freezing, because I'm controlling the rotation, the movement, all by code. I don't want it totally on my physics. So that's what I'm doing here on the player code. So shooting mechanics. Okay, and where's my movement? In my fixed update, since I'm using rigid body to move my object, I'm doing all the movement inside fixed update, because in fixed update in Unity, it calculates all the physics a little bit better. It will know, okay, it's running really fast, it's running really low. So every time you need to handle physics, do it inside fixed update. So my handle movement, what I'm doing is okay, if I'm not flying, probably because I'm dead. If I don't have life points, some of you may ask, you are double checking that. Yes, because I wanted to do something different when it's flying or not. I wanted to make it land and it's not ready yet. And what I'm doing is like adding force. So every time I press turn or up down or throttle, I'm increasing the speed. So that's what I'm doing. Okay? And the ship dust is just to give a nice effects when my ship gets lower to the ground. The particles the same, shoot mechanics I already explained. Okay, and so every time I receive a damage, so my life points will get a little bit lower here, and I'm going to receive damage on my game manager because that's, again, this is the singleton part. That's why I can access this method in my game manager. So what I'm telling here about the organization is I have a central game object which is receiving all the logic, the score points, the player health to show in UI. You could do the UI inside the player ship. You could do the score points inside the player ship. But imagine the logic of this. Imagine you have more than one programmer in your team, which sometimes very often. So I'm making the player ship. You guys, I don't know, my partner is doing the droid, and I have another one doing all the game logic because I'm not sure if it's going to connect to a database. I'm not sure if it's going to connect to Facebook. So we need to work together to make this connect inside your project. So this is just a few ideas how to make it work. Okay, so I'm not going deeper about the missile, enemy tower, because we don't have time. And so this is about the game logic and how the player ship works and how it connects. Again, if you guys want the scripts, I can share with you later. I'm going to just play one time more to review the NavMesh again. So these droids are creating all the path in real time, and the NavMesh agent is the one used for that. Okay, and before we go to the question, I will open another project very quickly, which sometimes is a little bit, oh, I saved the project, okay, no problem. Which sometimes is a little bit easier to explain and has some different features, as you can see. Because here I have a few different examples about NavMesh. So with this new NavMesh from Unity, since it's component-driven based, you can have different agents, you can have different paths, you can have different meshes inside your scene. So let's say we have bigger units that, okay, this tank cannot go through that mountains, only my foot soldiers. So that's what I'm trying to show you here in this project that it's not loading, I'm loading again. I'm not sure if I close it or not, so let's just open again. Okay, now it works. This project is about medieval setting. It's like a tower defense mixed with RTS. So this one took a little bit more time to create, like 5-6 hours. And here I have a few examples about timeline, post-process effects, and the NavMesh. So we have a little small story here, like, okay, the camera moved there. You must defend our city each second, blah, blah, blah. So it's explaining about the game. So we have a small setting for storytelling here. It's showing the enemy, what is happening. I'm showing a little bit of 3D sound effects, as you can see when it gets near the mine, the change, which is very simple to do, the sound chains. This is the portal where you need to go with your units. Okay, so we could skip that, but I just want to show you. And so I have my right mouse click here. I can check my scene. These are my enemies, just waiting to get killed. And that is my portal. When you see that when I move from one place to another, the camera changes. This is the new post-processing volume going on. I'm not going deep into that. So what I'm going to do is create a few units. Oh, I always forget to do this because this scene, I'm using the NavMesh manager to bake where the unit is going to move, how they are going to move. So I have two NavMesh surface. Before getting back to the project, I'm just going to bake it again. So I have one which will control my humanoids, as you can see, and I have another one which will control my horsemen. But why I have two? Because each one has a different radius, a different size. I want, okay, some of my units, which are the knights, the horsemen, will not able to move through these mountains because they are too big. Okay, I don't want them to go in there. They will have to go all this way around because they cannot go through there. The same happens with my foot soldiers, but because they are small, as you can see, that there are two different blue colors. So one is for the foot soldiers, the other one is for the horsemen. So that is what happening here. I press it. Okay. I'm going to skip this time so we don't have to watch it all again. So when I'm creating my units now, so my foot soldiers can go through the woods and this side. My knights will have to go all around because they are, if I pause it, let's get back to my unit here. So can you see his size? They are small. They can go through small places. But my knights, they are bigger. They cannot pass through small places. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm using two types of Unity to move around in the same place, but with different size. Okay. I'm not going to lose, of course, because 4 against, I don't know, 12, it's too much. But hopefully this project will be available soon. I'm talking with my guy, which is the guy responsible for creating new content for Unity. And I want to make this all localized for you guys in Spanish, in Portuguese, explain the code. The same happens with the sheet game. And so you can see here about how to destroy some objects, about the pathfinding. So a lot of features, not complicated, very simple. And again, I'm using a game manager here, so you can see how it works later. It will be possible to create some houses. So pretty much the basic of a real-time strategy game. But this one, since I cannot really move my units, it's just more like a tower defense game. Okay? So that was really what I really wanted to show you guys very quickly. I know it's a lot of information for like so short time, but you can do these great things with Unity. I'm sure your project has a lot of amazing things going on. I would love to see more. Please, any of you who wants to know more or wants any help or contact or anything, email me and I'll be really glad to help you guys, okay? Before really finishing, any of you have questions? No? Thank you very much. We have one more talk with Olivia.